Hello everyone and welcome to my B&B Fan Club channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Donna and Brooke at Forrester are ecstatic about Hope's new collection. Along with Katie, the third sister believes Hope's future is bright. Brooke expresses concern about putting her personal life on hold, but Katie reassures her that there is no need to worry. Right on cue, Hope calls Brooke home. Donna suspects Katie knows something, so she spills the beans. Why does Lee question Sheila? Sheila expresses surprise to Lee that she did not lose her license for what she did. Luna's actions only exacerbated their situation. She only wants her husband to return home, but he must want to come home. Sheila reverts to worrying about her marriage and hoping Taylor can rescue it. Although they cherish their closeness with their granddaughter, Lee attempts to be encouraging, but can't help but bring up Sheila's death threat against Taylor. "You were just blowing off steam, right?" Sheila explodes, claiming that she is no longer that person, sure, Jan, and returns to obsessing. She requires Taylor to advocate for her marriage. How close will Taylor and Deacon get? Taylor and Deacon embrace in Taylor's office, and he tells her that he understands her pain and encourages her to speak with him. After raving about how poorly they have been treated in their relationships, Deacon tells Taylor that he feels connected to her. He wants her to feel attached too. Taylor makes remarks about how inappropriate this is, but grins when Deacon holds her hand and assures she can trust him. "I'm here for you." Taylor tells Deacon about the feared love triangle with Ridge and Brooke, who console her. Taylor complains to the restaurateur about Brooke, wiggling and giggling her way into Ridge's heart while Sheila summons Deacon to return home. She ends up crying in Deacon's arms, and before you know it, they are looking into each other's eyes. Happy ending. Hope and Liam joke about Beth's enormous plans for their wedding, canoodle, and give impassioned speeches until Brooke arrives. They talk until Brooke notices the engagement ring, and they announce the good news. Beth appears and celebrations follow. In the center of Los Angeles, where the sun-kissed hills meet the soaring cityscape of ambitions and deceptions, the Spencer Publications skyscraper rose tall as a symbol of ambition and legacy. Bill Spencer, the unstoppable force behind the empire, walked the vast office that overlooked the city like a monarch surveying his dominion. His silver hair reflected the golden light streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, and his keen blue eyes, ever attentive, searched the horizon as if daring fate to hurl the next curveball. Bill was a man who thrived on control and the excitement of the chase, but lately his pursuits had taken him down paths with more shadows than spotlights. His thoughts turned to Katie, the woman who had held him steady through storms he never imagined he'd face, and Luna, the surprise grandchild whose very existence ripped strands of trust he'd long taken for granted. But today, October 29, 2025, was not a day to dwell on what-ifs. Bill's assistant buzzed him over the intercom, her voice clean and efficient. "Mr. Spencer, your son has come to see you. He says it is important." Bill's lips curled into a rare, genuine smile. Liam, the boy knew the man, who had the Spencer fire in his blood yet possessed a heart that Bill had always coveted for its unwavering optimism. "Send him in," Bill said, his voice booming with natural authority but softened by father pride. The big oak door swung open, and there stood Liam Spencer, his posture straight but his eyes filled with a fear that Bill detected right away. Liam, with his disheveled dark hair and that youthful grin that could deceive even the most hardened soul, went inside, locking the door behind him with a firm click. He was dressed sharply, in a cut navy suit that suited his athletic build and a fresh white shirt unbuttoned just enough to see the pulse of eagerness at his throat. He held a small velvet box in his fingers, the deep blue of which matched the tie that flapped slightly with his rapid breath. "Dad," Liam said, his voice steady yet laden with the weight of revelation. He took huge strides across the room, eventually meeting Bill halfway. They grabbed hands in a forceful shake that morphed into a quick backslapping embrace, the kind intended for times when words felt inadequate. "I've got news. Big news." Bill drew back, his brow arched in that signature Spencer suspicion, yet his eyes twinkled with excitement. "Bigger than the last time you burst in here looking like you'd won the lottery? Come on son, spit it out. I've got a board meeting in 20, but for you? I'll make time." Liam chuckled, a low, relieved sound that resonated off the marble flooring. He looked about the room, as if the walls contained the ghosts of previous confessions, the reconciliations, heartbreaks, and never-ending cycle of love and sorrow that marked their family. "It's Hope," he replied simply, and Bill's demeanor changed, with a spark of protectiveness crossing his features. "I hope Logan." The lady who had often served as Liam's anchor and undoing. The one who had moved away only to return like a tide he couldn't stop. She said yes. Again. Liam opened the box with a flourish, exposing a diamond ring that reflected the light and fractured it into 1,000 shining promises. It was classic and elegant, a cushion-cut diamond set in platinum, with subtle sapphire accents that spoke of eternity and adventure. Not dazzling like a Spencer heirloom, but personal, picked with care by a guy who had learned from every heartbreak. "I proposed last night, down by the beach where we first... Well, you know." She didn't hesitate, Dad. After everything, the doubts, the detours, she looked at me like I was her future. Our future. Bill stared at the ring, then at his son, and the room fell into a charged silence broken only by the distant hum of the city below. For a brief moment, Bill saw not the polished businessman before him, but the wide-eyed youngster who had once gone to him after his first playground grief, seeking counsel in a world that seemed too huge. Bill has always been the man who overcame hurdles with pure willpower. But in this vulnerable conversation, he felt the calm power of legacy passed down by connection rather than conquering. Bill's face broke into a broad grin, and he let out a bark of laughter that filled the room like uncorked champagne. "You son of a gun. Engaged? To Hope? Hell yes." He clapped Liam on the shoulder hard enough to jolt him forward, then drew him into another strong hug, as if to imprint the moment in their bones. "I knew it. I told you, didn't I? That fire between you two, it's not something you snuff out. It's a goddamn inferno. And after all the crap you've both been through, this is your win, Liam. Our win." Liam's shoulders relaxed, the tension he'd held melting under his father's unfettered glee. "You did push me, Dad. That pep talk last week? About not letting fear call the shots? It stuck. I was done waiting for perfect. She's it for me, always has been." He snapped the box shut, putting it into his pocket with a reverence that screamed volumes. "We're keeping it quiet for now, just family. Brooke knows, the Logans are overjoyed, but I wanted you to hear it from me first." Bill nodded, directing Liam to the leather recliners near the window. He poured 2 fingers of scotch from the crystal decanter on the sideboard, aged smooth and warm from the inside out. "To you and Hope," he said, clinking glasses with a satisfying chime. "May your life together be as unbreakable as this family's spirit." They drank together, the golden nectar scorching a path of joy down their throats. Bill reclined back, his thoughts already racing forward. "So, wedding plans? Destination? I know a guy with a private island," Liam chuckled, shaking his head. "Slow down, Dad. We're savoring this. But yeah, we'll need your Navy SEAL precision for security. Can't have any exes crashing the party." The banter flowed effortlessly, father and son sharing memories of previous engagements, the what-ifs that had nearly ruined them. Bill revealed a rare narrative about his own rapid courtship with Katie, revealing the flaws he'd hidden behind bluster. For once, the shout was quieted, replaced by a depth of passion that transcended the years between them. As the debate progressed, Bill's thoughts turned to the bigger picture of their lives. Beyond these doors, Spencer Publications hummed with activity, deals closed, headlines were published, but this was the genuine empire building. He felt a surge of pride and amazement as he watched Liam gesture animatedly, portraying Hope's bright grin under the moonlight. His son, once lost in the midst of betrayals, had discovered his compass. And in that discovery, Bill saw his own unfinished tales. Perhaps it was time to stop shouting and start listening, to battle for the relationships that mattered, not just the conquests. Meanwhile, across town in the sun-drenched slopes of Bel Air, the Il Giardino restaurant was bustling with its regular lunchtime pace. Deacon Sharp, the repentant bad boy turned restaurateur, wiped down the polished oak bar with a steady hand, his tattooed forearms flexing beneath the sleeves of his clean white shirt. The aroma of fresh basil and boiling garlic filled the air, blending with the low murmur of customers enjoying plates of homemade pasta and glasses of powerful Chianti. Il Giardino was more than a business. It was Deacon's redemption, a physical manifestation of the man he'd worked so hard to become after decades of disaster. However, Deacon was well aware that salvation was not without its difficulties. His marriage to Sheila Carter Sharp, which was formed out of passion and tempered by too many near catastrophes, was hanging by a thread. Sheila, with her raven hair and eyes that could pierce souls or plot their demise, held secrets sharper than a knife. Luna, their granddaughter, was stashed away like a shameful heirloom, only to emerge as a living reminder of deceptions that Deacon couldn't erase. Then there was Taylor Hayes, the poised psychiatrist whose treatment sessions had become his lifeline, her serene presence a balm against the tempest that Sheila so frequently sparked. The bell above the door tinkled, jolting Deacon from his meditation. Hope Logan and Deke Sharp, his daughter and son, stepped in, a formidable duo who were also family members. Hope, with her flowing chestnut curls and eyes that echoed her mother's steely determination, moved with the grace of someone who had been on the verge of heartbreak far too often. She wore a modest sheath dress in soft green, a color that echoed the hope she represented, both her namesake brand at Forrester Creations and the peaceful optimism she'd rediscovered with Liam. Deke, ever the moody artist, trailed close behind, his leather jacket thrown over a graphic tee and dark hair unkempt as if he'd just walked off a painting. At 20-something, he carried the weight of his own secrets, but today, his jaw was set purposefully. "Dad!" Hope exclaimed, her voice warm but urgent as she rounded the bar and hugged him. Deacon returned it with zeal, inhaling the slight flowery elements of her perfume, a reminder of Brooke's ongoing effect. "We need to talk. Now." Deacon looked at Deke, who nodded seriously and slid onto a stool with the nonchalance of youth covering anxiety. The lunch crowd had dispersed, leaving the restaurant in a rare pocket of silence. "All right, kids. What's got you both looking like you're about to stage an intervention?" He poured them sparkling water from the soda gun, garnished with lemon twists, buying time as his belly twisted. Hope sat on the stool beside Deke, her fingers interlocking with her half-brothers in an act of solidarity. "It's Mom, Sheila," she clarified, eliciting Deacon's flinch. "We know about Luna, Dad. All of it. The lies, the cover-ups. And now, this thing with Taylor." Her words hung heavy, laden with the grief of a daughter who'd struggled for her father's light amid his darkness. Deke leaned forwards, his voice low and steady. "Look, Dad, we've seen how she twists everything. That woman's got more red flags than a bullfight. You deserve better stability. Someone who doesn't keep you guessing if the next secret's gonna blow up your life." Deacon's hand stilled on the bar rag, his broad shoulders sagging under the invisible load. He remembered Sheila's ferocious defenses, her cries that rang like thunder in their shared home. The Il Giardino flat upstairs, where passion and paranoia coexisted in an uneasy peace. But then his thoughts turned to Taylor, her gentle probing during those sessions, the way her laugh lines crinkled when he told a self-deprecating joke about his barfly days. Taylor, with her golden hair and unwavering elegance, saw through his arrogance to the man who longed for peace. Their chats had shifted from clinical to candid, with lines blurring like ink in water. Yesterday, over coffee after a session, she revealed a vulnerability of her own, a lasting scar from Rich Forrester's continuous tug-of-war with Brooke. In that moment, under the dappled shadow of her office garden, Deacon sensed a warm and hesitant flame that Sheila's inferno could never equal. "I get it," Deacon said, his voice hard as gravel. He met their eyes, one blue like his own and the other a deep hazel that reflected Hope's determination. She's a force. Saved me from myself more times than I can count. But the lies? About Luna, about everything? It's like building a house on sand." He paused, looking out the window, where the afternoon sun had painted the patio in lazy gold. "And Taylor? She's not like that. She's steady. Makes me want to be better, not just survive." Hope's face softened, but her grasp on Deke's palm tightened. "That's exactly why you need to end it, Dad. Sheila's jealousy, it's poison. We heard she threatened Taylor, for God's sake. Imagine what that does to you, to us. You're not just her husband, you're our father. Our anchor." Tears glistened in her eyes, not of weakness, but of the fierce love that bound the Sharp clan through storms. Deke nodded, his artistic spirit adding poetry to his plea. "Think about it like one of your old rock lyrics, Dad. You've got the chorus down, the redemption riff, but the bridge? That's where you pivot. Sheila's the verse that loops back to chaos. Taylor, She's the solo that lifts you out. He smirked faintly, lightening the air. But his eyes held the gravity of someone who'd navigated his own romantic minefields. Deacon breathed slowly, massaging the back of his neck, which was knotted like old guitar strings. He poured himself a club soda, the fizz a modest protest against the scotch that beckoned to him in difficult times. You too. You're ganging up on me, huh? Tag team therapy. A sardonic and weary chuckle broke the ice. He leaned on the bar, elbows raised up, facing them as equals. All right, lay it out. What would the ending look like? Sheila doesn't do amiable split. She's all or nothing. Hope leaned in, her voice a mix of Logan's hardness and Sharp's warmth. Start with space. Tell her you need time to process Luna to heal. No ultimatums, just honesty. And lean on Taylor professionally at first. Let her help you untangle this. She paused, then softly added, We love you, Dad. All of us, me, Brooke, even Deke here with his moody sketches. We want you whole. The trio talked for what felt like hours, though the clock ticked only minutes. Hope recounted her engagement to Liam, the ring a talisman of second chances, and Deke shared sketches for his upcoming exhibit, Abstracts Influenced by Family Conflict. Deacon listened intently, the bar forgotten as laughter and tears flowed through their stories. Outside, the world went on. Fashion empires rose at Forrester, scandals simmered in the hills, but here, in this sanctuary of sauce and sincerity, a decision was brewing. As Hope and Deke stood to go, promising to return for dinner, Deacon drew them into a group hug, his arms like a fortress against the unknown. I hear you, he muttered, loud and clear. Watching them walk through the door hand in hand, he felt his crush on Taylor grow stronger, a quiet flower among the thorns. Sheila's shadow loomed, but for the first time, Deacon saw a route lit by something softer, connection rather than combustion. The afternoon sun poured through transparent curtains in Taylor Hayes' tranquil Beverly Hills studio, casting beautiful patterns on the Persian rug. Taylor sat in her high-backed armchair, knees crossed beautifully and a notepad poised on her knee. Her blonde hair was fastened carelessly, a few strands framing a face that had withstood the storms of love with Rich Forrester and emerged wiser, if not undamaged. Her clothing today was professional chic, a fitted ivory silk top combined with wide-leg slacks that exuded quiet confidence. But behind the elegance, a subtle shift occurred. The therapist's detached demeanor frayed at the edges, giving way to a woman's interest. Deacon arrived on schedule as usual, a habit from his more disciplined days that pleased her. He walked in with that roguish appeal, removing his jacket to expose a fitting Henley that hinted at the rebel beneath the reformed. Doc, he said, sliding into the facing chair with a sigh that conveyed the weight of unsaid conflict. Ready to dissect another layer of this onion I'm apparently made of? Taylor asked, her pen tapping lightly against the pad, creating a cadence that grounded them both. Only if you're ready, Deacon. Last session we touched on the lunar revelation. How's that sitting with you today? Her voice was velvet over steel, inviting without invading, but her eyes, those piercing blue depths, held a warmth that belied the clinical. Deacon moved forward, elbows on knees, his gaze meeting hers. It's a gut punch still. Sheila swears it was for protection, but secrets like that, they erode trust like acid rain. He paused, scrutinizing her face, and something unspoken flowed between them. A current, electric and unknown. But talking it out here? With you. It's like catching my breath. You're not just listening, you're seeing me. Taylor's pen paused, her professional mask slipping slightly. She'd treated numerous patients and negotiated the minefields of transference with ease, but Deacon was unique. His direct honesty, coupled with humor that mirrored her own dry wit, chipped away at her barriers. And lately, in the quiet hours after sessions, she'd found herself repeating their conversations, marveling at the man who'd built an empire from nothing. That's the goal, she said gently, her heart quickening. To help you see yourself clearly. But tell me more about this seeing. What does that feel like for you? He smiled lowly and self-deprecatingly, running his hand over his salt and pepper hair. Feels dangerous if I'm honest. Like stepping out of the spotlight I've hidden in for years. Sheila's all intensity, fireworks and fallout. But you're the steady glow. Makes a guy think about what he really wants. His words hung, heavy with implication, and the room seemed to shrink, the air thickening with possibility. Taylor laid her notes aside and uncrossed her legs, a delicate movement that brought her closer to the edge of her seat. Deacon, this space is for exploration, not expectation. But if we're talking wants, you've been clear about craving stability. After everything with Hope, Brooke, and the Logans, it's valid to seek that. She paused, her therapist training clashing with the woman who'd spent years entangled in Forrester's romantic vortex. Ridge's ghost persisted, but Deacon's presence anchored her, reminding her that healing may be reciprocal. Emboldened, Deacon reached out, brushing his fingers against hers in a faint whisper. Stability with spark. That's you, Taylor. And yeah, maybe I'm projecting, but I see it in your eyes too, that look when we talk about moving past the pain. Ridge, Brooke. They're chapters. What if we're starting a new one? The touch lingered warm and tentative, sending a cascade of sensations through Taylor. Caution, curiosity, and a thrill she hadn't felt since her most daring days. She didn't draw away. Instead, she turned her palm up, allowing the connection to strengthen. Chapters can overlap, she said quietly, her voice like a thread of silk. But they require courage, yours and mine. In that paused moment, the boundaries melted even more. There are no notes or timers, only two souls scarred and yearning, getting inexorably closer. Taylor felt the crush match Deacon's as the session progressed into unfamiliar territory, a gentle unfurling, petal after petal. Outside, the world of Los Angeles swirled with dramas. Liam and Hope's joyful secret spreading like wildfire through family circles. Bill's approval yell reverberating in boardrooms transformed into celebration halls. But here, in this cocoon of discovery, Taylor and Deacon edged closer to a point where treatment met tenderness, and old wounds may finally scar into strength. Back at Spencer Publications, the day faded into golden hour, and the city lights began their sparkling precursor to night. Liam stayed in Bill's office, the scotch glasses empty on the side table, their conversation veering from wedding fantasies to the reality of merging lives once more. Hope's relaunching her line at Forrester, Liam said with pride in his chest. Hope for the future fitting, right? After all we've been through, Bill nodded, his mind whirling with ideas. Damn right. And if Steffi's still playing gatekeeper, you tell her the Spencers back it. Full page spread an eye on fashion endorsements, the works. He stood up, pacing again, his energy crackling like static. But beneath the bluster, gratitude blossomed. His son, on the verge of bliss that he had almost given up, mirrored Bill's own regrets. You know, Liam, watching you fight for this makes me think about Katie. Luna's messes aside, maybe it's time I stopped shouting from the sidelines. Liam's eyes widened, surprise mixed with empathy. Dad, if anyone's earned a second act, it's you. Go for it. Life's too short for what-ifs. They exchanged a silent vow, forged in the fires of family. As Liam left, promising updates on the engagement's consequences, Bill sunk into his chair, inspecting the ring box Liam had left behind. The diamond twinkled like a star, and Bill allowed himself a small reflection. Not a shout, just a whisper of optimism. For Liam, Hope, and the complex web of Logans, Spencers, and Sharps that connects them all. In the hills, Deacon shuttered Il Giardino early, the closed for family sign a modest ruse to buy privacy. He climbed the stairs to the flat he shared with Sheila, his heart heavy from his children's remarks. Sheila was gone, probably plotting or pleading in her own whirlwind, but her presence lingered in the scattered sheet music on the piano and the bright red throw on the couch. Deacon drank a glass of water and stared at his reflection in the window. A man at a crossroads, one route burning and the other sunlit. Taylor sent him an SMS with session notes attached. And, coffee tomorrow? Off the clock. Simple words, a deep request. Deacon's thumb hovered before typing. Absolutely. The idea of a steady light sounds great. He pressed send. A weight lifted as resolution settled. Hope, driving back to the Logan estate with Deke in the passenger seat, felt the day's tension melt away into triumph. Do you think we got through? She inquired, staring at her brother. Deke grinned and sketched idly on a napkin. We planted the seed. The rest is his responsibility. They chuckled, their relationship unbroken. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of promise, Taylor, ending off her day, slipped into a light jacket and took small steps toward the door. The crush had expanded, its roots extending deep, and for once she welcomed the expansion. In the world of Bold and the Beautiful, where love twisted like vines, these moments, Hope and Liam's brilliant news, Bill's thunderous delight, Deacon's growing clarity, Taylor's tentative bloom, created a tapestry of hope amid the heartbreak. But as evening fell, shadows moved. When Sheila returned to the empty flat, she noticed a shift in the air, much like a predator does. Deacon's remoteness, the whispers she overheard. Jealousy coiled like a serpent, ready to strike. Her eyes focused on the phone, Taylor's name like a new scar. "Not this time," she said quietly to the empty room, her voice caustic. The night deepened, secrets simmered, alliances formed, and in the midst of it all love's frail flame flickered on, brighter, bolder and unwavering. That evening's engagement celebration was tiny, held in the Logan Beach house, where waves lapped like clapping against the coast. Brooke Logan Forrester, ever the grandmother of feeling, had planned it with style. Fairy lights stretched across the deck, a table groaning beneath seafood towers, and champagne flutes bubbling like laughter. Hope stood in the center, Liam's arm around her waist, the ring catching every sparkle as relatives gathered. Brooke beaming, Ridge giving a grudging gesture of acceptance, Donna and Katie toasting warmly. Bill came fashionably late, commanding the space like a force of nature. "To the happy couple," he said, lifting a glass to hush the conversation. "May your love be as endless as the ocean and as fierce as a Spencer shout." Laughter rippled, glasses clinking in a symphony of encouragement. Liam met his father's eye across the crowd, and they exchanged a wordless, meaningful nod of thanks. Deacon arrived solo, as evidenced by Hope's swift grasp of his hand. "We meant it, Dad," she mumbled. He grinned, but his eyes searched for Sheila's disappearance, relief tinged with remorse. Taylor was not present. For the time being, boundaries were maintained, but her text blazed like a talisman in his pocket. Brooke pulled Hope away for mother-daughter guidance, filled with tears and successes, while Dee cornered Liam with brotherly ribbing about not screwing it up this time. Bill discovered Katie near the railing, the sea air ruffling her golden curls. "New chapters, Logan," he murmured gently, his yell muffled into a rumble. She turned, her eyes searching for his, a spark blazing in the salt air. Taylor, alone at home with a glass of Pinot and an unread book, felt drawn to the evening's intensity. Her phone brightened up with Brooke's group chat update, photos of beaming faces, comments flowing with delight. Taylor's heart skipped when one person commented on Deacon's nice looks. Closer, certainly. In this constellation of links, the day's headlines unfolded as screenplay, with Hope and Liam's joyous news serving as a beacon, Taylor's blossoming bond with Deacon as a quiet revolution, and Bill's shout evolving into song. Los Angeles slept under stars that appeared a little brighter, dreams winding through the night, promising tomorrows linked with love's unbreakable thread. Yet amid the shadows of Il Giardino, Sheila paced, her mind a tornado. Hope and Deke's ambush earlier that day, overheard through a cracked door, fueled her rage. "They think they can push him away? From me." She clutched a snapshot of herself and Deacon from their wedding, their grins frozen in time. Jealousy for Taylor festered like a suppurating wound. Tomorrow she would confront, not with wrath but with cunning. Pleas had failed. Perhaps tactics would succeed. On October 30th, dawn broke, and the city was filled with the hum of routine. Liam awoke entwined in Hope's arms, the ring a cool weight on her finger, their whispered intentions for eternity. Bill, in his penthouse, drew notes for a Katie offensive, flowers not fanfares. Deacon and Taylor met for coffee, the cafe steam rising like breathed secrets, their chat ranging from therapy to dreams, palms touching lattes. Hope spent her time at Forrester studying designs for her relaunch, the fabric swatches as colorful as her rejuvenated attitude. Deke painted at his studio, using powerful strokes of blue and gold to depict the family's fragile harmony. What about Sheila? She gazed from afar, her love a double-edged sword. The bold and the beautiful marched on, their hearts entwined, unraveling, and reuniting in the never-ending dance of desire and fate.